Hello and welcome back to the round 1, back 9 of the Hyzer for Hope 3.
Presented by Hope Outdoors.
Alright, we got a nice little view here. Again, this course is on a beautiful area and we're excited to be out here. As we're rounding up, again we got Chris Downey, stud. Chad Sherbert,
who had the hot front 9.
Oh yeah, he's on a tear right now. We're excited to see where he takes it onto this back 9.
And then myself, maybe giving you a little shade pull down right here.
Like always got to keep it fresh. All right, we're glad you're here with me in the booth, and we're glad to see you on this featured card. It was a fan-voted featured card too, wasn't it?
That's right. A couple days beforehand, we had a fan vote. These were your top 4 vote getters.
And you know, if Josh Hollingsworth's on that list, he's going to have a run for the money. All right, as we're looking at hole 10 here, this is straight up the hill on an elevated basket. You got OB behind the basket with the cart path. Other than that, the only other danger is hitting these trees as you're going up the fairway.
Yeah, and this hole's a lot tougher than it looks uphill with that OB just behind the basket, especially with the elevation that Jimmy added to it.
Yeah, I mean, it gives it a real good feature. If you get it high enough, you can take a chance at running it. But again, if you catch the wind, you're going to sail OB in a hurry.
Yeah. You have about a 15 or 20 footer to come back. Looked like Blaine rolled that one. We're throwing into a headwind right here, and he put the nose down, kind of made it dive into the hill.
Right, and when you're throwing a forehand into a headwind, I mean, it's already scary enough as it is. But you're trying to overcompensate. You have to play a headwind smooth.
Downey showing how it's done, giving himself a very easy putt for a 2.
Right, and this is what I'm talking about. If you throw it a little too hard, you could get a late skip, and it pushes it right over the cart path.
I saw Blaine's shot, and I thought I was going to get the disc knocked out of my hand as well, but didn't happen there. So Blaine giving it a little bit of a bid from about 80 or 90 feet. And he'll have an easy par. And then I actually was out of bounds, so this is my comeback for 3 after taking my meter in.
Give him the circle 3. I mean, come on. That was a solid putt. Beautiful.
And if you watch the front 9, you saw that I hit band twice on the last hole, so I just did the same putt on that elevator basket.
Right. I mean, you just have to play your game. You know, when you make a putt like that, and you're going to give Chad the flashback, this is a tough putt because he's looking straight at out of bounds. If he misses that, there's no chance that he's staying in bounds.
There's no fear there. He was so smooth with that putt.
All right, we got a tap in here for Chris Downey. With that elevated basket, as you see, he had to go nose up. I mean, that's danger. If he was to come off on the right or left side, that's not staying, especially into the wind. All right, we're looking at a couple of scores here. You got Chris at -5, Chad -7, Josh at -1, and Blaine -6.
I got a lot of catching up to do.
Right, we got a lot of holes left. This is a 2-round event, so there's plenty of time.
So hole 11, about 780 feet. You got to throw about a little over 300 to get down here to this ditch, and then a elevated upshot over an OB road. The ditch plays OB as well. It was painted off. This is a pretty difficult hole with the wind going on.
Right, because, I mean, it looks like you want to throw it over the water, but with this wind blowing right in your face, it makes it almost nearly impossible. As you see Chris not giving any cares, throwing it off to the right. But as you see, he catches that headwind, and it does push it to the right. He was hoping for more of a hyzer on it. I feel like the rest of these guys are going to play the more conventional route. They're just going to lay up to this side and go for the
Just split the hole in 2. And I said 300 feet. It probably plays a little bit more than that, but you're throwing with about 300 foot of power since it's straight downhill.
Right. And like I said, you don't want to carry too far, so you have to hold back just a little bit. But anything in this area, you're looking right at the pin. This is more of like your traditional shot anyway. So as long as you get it in this open, I mean, you have a shot for the basket. Easy birdie. And we'll see what these guys can do.
The footing was a little difficult here. As you see, Blaine pulls this one left. A lot of the rain had collected at the bottom of this hill, so you were getting your foot wet, and you couldn't really get a good turn as you were trying to throw.
Yeah, I'm not sure if y'all saw in the video, but when Josh's disc actually hit the ground, it made a splash. So, I mean, it was soaking wet.
Like Barry Bonds used to do at AT&T Field.
All right, and Chad's going to take the wide hyzer. Looks like he's going to play it off the road a little bit. Oh, no. Straight at it.
Almost threw it in for the 2.
Man, that boy's good.
Downey looks like he's throwing his zone again, just trying to get it to nestle on with the green. And I'm sure he clinched a little bit with that air bounce, but he's got an easy 3.
Easy 3. All right, Blaine, like y'all saw, he kind of rolled out to the left a little bit and ended up in the woods. So he's mildly obstructed, but he does have a pretty good look at the basket for a 3.
Giving it a bid, coming up a little bit short, but like I said, the wind was tough today. 40-footers felt like 80-footers, 10-footers felt like 18.
I mean, yeah, the conditions were rough, and I feel like, for the most part, these guys really stood in there with the wind and didn't make it a problem.
And after the first couple holes, Chad's really cleaned up his stroke on the green. Looks great.
All right, as we see Josh here. Dirty bird. Like, those baskets have been catching all day, and that was dead center. That didn't seem like it was coming out at all from any angle.
I don't have much to say about that. Wish it would have caught, but hey, it happens.
Yep, as you see Chris cleaning up here for a birdie. The rest of these guys are going to get a par for Blaine. And we'll be moving on to hole 12.
And here we go to hole 12, 236 feet straight downhill. You've got this super wide hyzer over this little gazebo on the right that allows for some distance control checking in. You can also go with a forehand to allow some distance control, or go straight at it with a putter, tomahawk, whatever you want. Just risk going out of bounds long into that water. But it's about 50 feet behind the basket.
Right, yeah. And I feel like this hyzer line over this small little gazebo building here is the play. I mean, like Josh said, there is a forehand route, tomahawk route, thumber route, whatever. But the more conventional route you're going to see most players take is this righty hyzer.
Yeah, why try to overcomplicate things?
I mean, it simplifies things, actually. Because if you have that kind of shot, you can take a lot out of it.
So Blaine, like myself, isn't super confident with the backhand. He's going to go with a very overstable justice on a flex and gets a favorable roll off a tree. And then I'm going thumber with a star firebird and check up a little early the basket.
I seem to be in putting distance, though. Looking at a good chance for a 2, as we see Blaine here from about 35. Just shy of the basket. I mean, he gave a good height. All right, Josh here for birdie. Clean it up.
Cleaning up a 2.
Full first. I mean, after a couple of missed putts, all you're thinking is, I want to get this one, and you jammed it right in the heart. So, there you go.
Now Chad with a 2, a little uphill. That's the danger on this hole, is that if you are throwing the hyzer, it falls off really hard to the left.
Yeah, definitely. And, I mean, you can have a chance for nose rolls, which on hills, that's highly possible.
So Downey going to try to chip in here for his 2. And no-mo, I had forgotten that happened. Sorry, Downey. So he misses the pole maybe a little right, but how in the world does that push out?
Right, and I mean, when you're taking the putt, you're thinking that was dead center. It was perfect. The slow-mo really captures exactly where the disc hit and exactly why. It's unfortunate that it happened, but Downey gets the no-mo, and we get to move on to Blaine here. Let's hope to not see too many more of those no-mos throughout these rounds.
Yeah, I really hope not. These baskets usually catch pretty well dead center, but they will push out putts left on hyzer or right on any.
Yeah, as we move into hole 13, this hole with this wind, it is super tricky. We have it's
about 275 foot, and you got OB water on your right the whole way, and the wind is, I couldn't even tell you which way it's blowing because every other second it's blowing from a different direction. You see Chad trying to figure it out.
Right, he's even asking, which way do I throw? I don't understand.
He throws the overstable disc on a hyzer, and the wind keeps it from bouncing into the basket. And I'm going to throw my tomahawk with a firebird. You'll see that for probably the next 5 holes. I call this little peninsula right here Tomahawk Alley.
Tomahawk Alley. I mean, if only I had the shoulder for it. Now, I mean, I have been known to throw some thumbers, but I don't use a traditional disc. I use a mini disc. And, I mean, if you know me, amateur mini world disc champion, but I just can't do it with a normal size disc. I mean, I don't understand how most people do it. But if you were to look at Josh's guns, you might understand why.
It's just a 2-seamer.
Right, just a little slider down the middle.
Yep.
All right, and these guys are going to be putting here we got a couple shots here for birdie.
So I found another puddle, and I'm taking my casual relief directly in line with the basket behind it.
Perfectly legal. You got what, up to 10 feet? Yes. Yeah. So you get to take the meter in safety, so that way you don't have to step in any puddles. Now there are times where you will sacrifice it. Say you were, instead of being 30 feet from the basket, you were 5 feet from the basket. I mean, I'd get my feet wet. And
y'all see these misses right here. They're on the green. We're professionals. We should make these, but I'm telling y'all, the wind was something else.
Right. I mean, it was moving all day, and this is only round one. Round two, the wind starts to pick up even heavier, so it's going to be exciting stuff for the next round.
A little bit of hail maybe in the forecast.
Possibly, but, we'll see what happens. And as Downey gets another center pole no-mo, I mean, that was dirty.
Yeah, maybe a little high on the pole, but there's no way that shouldn't have caught. The wind must have been caught up in the chains.
No way. I mean, it was. You hear it. It's blowing. And that's the only thing that made that come out like that. That was a great putt.
So Blaine asked if he could leave it in right there, and I asked him to please move it out. I don't need anything else besides the wind kicking this disc out of the basket.
Right. No extra hazards
here we go with
in this
hole
course.
14, 299 feet straight downhill. You've got a Hyzer route that you can kind of swing it out over the water and try to get some distance control into the green as the water's about 15 feet behind the basket, or you can take your shot of choice up the middle.
And I feel like the shot up the middle is probably the safer play. If you swing it out too far wide to the right, the water does come into play a lot sooner. So.
And Blaine and I are just trying to throw fastballs right down the middle, try to beat the ceiling and get the speed to get down to the green as gravity's fighting our disc the whole way.
And Chad's going to take the more, traditional route, but he does look like he gets a little high.
Yeah, he looked like the wind flipped it over a little bit. We'll see where he is compared to the water.
Right. I mean, it looks close.
So I took a little bit off that one trying to flex and squared up another tree.
Hey, they're all over the place out here. You just got to navigate and play through them.
I'm laying up with a tomahawk from about 170 feet. That's just a piece of cake to me.
Right, and it makes work a lot easier when you can hit the ground sooner and just slide up to the basket as opposed to throwing it too high and go too far.
So Downey from about 60 feet, giving the Wizard a chance, and the wind just knocked it straight out of the air.
Okay, and so Chad was out of bounds, and so this will be his shot for a circle 3.
Yeah, we had a little discussion about where he went out of bounds on this hole. If you don't see where the disc goes out of bounds, just a little advice for a card, give the player the benefit of the doubt. You'd want them to do the same thing for you.
Absolutely, and especially when you're watching the flight pattern and you see approximately where it went. And we see Blaine here, he was out of bounds as well, so that's going to be another circle 3. So these are good putts. I mean, after going out of bounds, that's a lot of pressure on you to turn around and make a putt like that.
Downey's going to putt for 3. No-mo on this.
No, he gets no no-mo. He made it this time, and the baskets did catch, so good on him. Good on the basket. We'll be moving on to hole 15.
With 4 threes on this hole.
All right, after hole 14, you're going to check out some scores here. You got Chris at -5, Chad -9, Josh -2, and Blaine at -8. As we're moving on to hole 15, this is a 235-foot uphill. You're looking right at the basket. The only thing is that you do not see the OB behind the basket. There is a hill that slopes down probably about 30 feet to the water. If you're cruising on this hole, you will find the drink.
Yeah, and that water comes up quick, especially with the slope of the hill being as steep as it is. Blaine going with a little mini flex forehand, and the wind gets underneath the skip and kicks him back down towards the water.
And that's what we're talking about. That green's fast. If you go past the basket, you will find the water, or you'll find close to the water.
Chad attacking our cameraman Tate and cutting a tree early.
Yeah, when you're watching it through the lens perspective, you have no idea where it's going, so sometimes you have to dodge disc. It's part of the game.
Yeah, myself hitting the ceiling, just overcomplicating the hole. Just put it close. Downey with a zone, outside of that tree, and he's going to take a roll down the hill as well, but he'll have a putt for 2 from the bottom.
Right, and that's exactly what we're talking about. You have to play this hole smooth, soft, and not get too much skip.
Chad giving it a bid.
And lucky enough to stay up top to salvage his par. As you got Josh here from about 40 feet, pin high.
Nice layup, sissy.
I mean, perfect layup. You couldn't ask for a better spot. Downey here from the bottom of the hill.
Actually giving it a bid, and he cooks a little long past the basket. That'll be a nervy put back.
Right. I mean, he'll still have a chance to salvage par, but he's going to want to be closer than that after missing from all the way up the hill.
So Blaine with about the same putt as Downey, and looked like the wind was going to settle him right into the basket, but he'll have a tap in for 3.
Yeah, but he won't have to think about that one too hard. Downey here, however, is thinking about this one. We don't want to give him any more no-mos. Nope, not today. Downey catches it in, salvages the par. And then, all right, we got Chad here cleaning up for par. And then we'll move on to the next hole.
You know, this is one of those holes that you really need to get a birdie on to score well on this course. The wind is just making it play so difficult today.
Well, not only that, the tee pad, after that long rain, got a little mushy. So it made the footing a little difficult.
Yeah, if you could have seen us down there moving left and right, just trying to find a dry spot not to slip.
Yep, as we see the scores here, we got some hot scores. Chad leading it, pushing into hole 16.
Yeah, so you've got a low ceiling. This hole plays with OB on the right, no more OB in sight. 318 feet, but really plays a little bit longer with that ceiling. And the wind today also making it tough. I know I've mentioned that several times, but I can't overstate it.
Right. I mean, the only thing you really have to avoid are these first rows of trees.
So Blaine trying to beat the ceiling. He cooks it into the ground a little early, but he'll have an easy upshot.
Definitely. I mean, the majority of the players out here are going to throw a righty hyzer or a lefty around the outside.
Chad pushed that OB a little bit more than he wanted to. We'll see where he lies when we get down towards the basket.
I believe he may have stayed in, but I'm not 100% sure, so we'll see when we get up here.
And I'm on the dance floor. Really, on this hole, I'm just throwing another fastball. I'm trying to get it underneath that limb and try to get some action towards the basket.
Yeah, definitely. Chris is throwing what looks to be a perfect shot here, and he skips up to the basket, pin high. He'll be looking at a good chance for birdie.
I think that was his West Side Disc Bard.
I mean, he's been throwing that disc a lot, and it's been clutch, especially with the wind that most of these tournaments have been having lately. So
Blaine is throwing his DGPT dyed Justice. As you can see, it fell hard out to the right. He'll have a little bit more meat on the bone than he wants for his par putt. And Chad was out of bounds in the water, so he's putting for 3. That wind just flipped his disc over just a little bit.
Right, and it will do that on these holes, especially throwing straight at the water in a headwind. I mean, it's hard to keep the disc on a hyzer with it pushing it out to the right like that. So, all right,
Blaine cleaning up for 3.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, great putt.
When he hits that putt, it's so smooth. And I put the nose down a little bit more than I wanted to, but call it for 2.
Yep, and you know, you got to take every birdie when they come. So, good job.
Downey with another 2 look.
You know, and he's been playing solid too. I mean, that was just unfortunate miss right there. He was definitely already counting that one in and probably walked it off a little too early in his head. But he'll want that one back for sure.
After watching both of those putts, I have to think that we were putting into a headwind because we both put the nose of the disc down and it dove pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, and it's hard. I mean, unless you play every single day in the wind, reading these winds is very complicated and really hard to do.
And Chad's putting really well, just giving a flat release to make sure that his disc rides the wind instead of fights it.
Yeah, absolutely. As we move into hole 17, this one's a fairly simple hole. The only trouble you have on this hole is a fence to the right. If you land inside of it, definitely out of bounds, but you can take the ricochet off of it.
Yeah, 242 foot downhill. It's a little bit of a tight fairway with some sporadic trees, but really you hit the line and you should be at the basket.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, most people are probably going to throw like a putter mid-range. Tomahawk, thumber, whatever you can pull out of your bag to make this one happen. But the traditional route I would feel for most players is the righty hyzer, lefty forehand.
I like playing it off that fence to try to ricochet me to the basket.
Right. I mean, it creates good action for sure.
Blaine throwing another flex forehand, and looks like he came up a little short. I'll say about 35 feet. Downey, I'm sure he's throwing an A3 of his own, some kind of putter. It looks like he just cut his throw off a little bit early and hit one of those inside trees.
Yep. He'll want to be a little closer, but knowing Downey's range, he'll still be thinking about making that birdie though. So
Definitely the Downey special.
the Downey special. He's like Downey range. Is that what they call it?
And Chad making the hole look a little too easy. Looks like he's been in the gym a little bit.
Pumping some iron out there.
Downey, first one to his disc.
He just gives it a layup. That way, like I said, you don't want to take too many risks out there, especially with kind of score he's putting up. No need to waste anything out there.
So Chad going to get on a knee and try to fight the wind a little better. I think he's a little uphill from the basket as well. Really taking his time on this putt and trying to secure the two. He floats it. A little off the mark, but an easy three nonetheless.
And Josh making quick work. I mean, he's like he took a step right up to the disc and put it in.
Sometimes when you know, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, no editing there needed.
Actually, what happened is the wind died for a second. I decided to putt.
You don't want to waste any time when that happens. I mean, you got to take advantage of it. And Blaine here using the mid-range for a putter and catches some early chains there.
Yeah, it looked like he had pushed it just a little bit right, maybe. Like I said, these baskets catch really well when the disc is on the pole. You don't get any cut-throughs. But the chains are so heavy, they will push out an outside putt.
Right. And as you see, Chad here at 8 down going into the final hole here. We'll see if he can push one more to try to hold on some good strokes.
Yeah, so this hole's 713 feet. I'd argue it plays a little bit longer. The early light pole you saw on the right is a Mando. You have to throw left of it, not over the baseball fields. So it makes a tough fairway, and then you can have an uphill shot with both the sidewalk and road playing as a river.
Right. I mean, on a normal day, this hole would play as a casual par 5, but because of the conditions, it makes it really difficult today.
I just got to say boom on that one.
Boom.
Threw my Bowling Green D3, and it worked out perfect.
Dude, Hulk smash, like all day.
Blaine gets this one turned over a little bit. Looked like the wind may have pushed him a little bit further left than he wanted to.
Right. I mean, and that's the trouble you can get into on this hole is by catching early trees and stopping you from penetrating to that open area. If you get into that open area, I mean, even if you hit a late tree after that, you're still having a good chance for a birdie. So navigating these first couple of trees is step one.
Chad getting out to the landing zone, and we've got Downey a good ways from the basket, but that boy got some power. He gets on this disc, and I think he's going to be happy with it.
Yeah, we missed that final shot there where it landed, but he's going to be in a good spot.
Yeah, he should be able to get up and down for birdie as this is a par 5. Blaine flexing a forehand through the gap, and he's closer to the basket.
All right, as we see Chad here trying to navigate through those last set of trees I was telling you about. Catches a late one and kicks left, but still, he's looking at the basket, so it is an easy chance for a birdie there still.
So Blaine was telling me he threw in for a 3 eagle from about this distance last year. Let's see what he's got this year. Gonna throw a tomahawk and try to pick his gap. He's going to be a little short of the basket and left.
All right, and Josh here, he's thinking about the same thing. He's going to throw a forehand right at the basket and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm throwing a West Side Warhorse trying to get it to fight the wind. It's a really overstable disc, but I get it flipped over and it's going to go a little ways.
All right, and he keeps on skipping. Now, there was a questionable call on the OB sheets. However, past the road is not out of bounds. Only in the road is out of bounds. So we'll make this hole happen. It might be something to look at for the future, where to mark the OBs. But today, that was safe, and Josh gets a good lie.
Yeah, it said in the rule sheet that it played as a river instead of playing out of bounds across it. So I used the players' meeting to my advantage.
Yeah, sometimes, that's what you have to play by the rules.
So Blaine will be putting from close. I'm actually giving it a little bit of a bid and a little long of the basket.
And right, as you see here, Josh called a provisional before he took these shots. So you'll see, if you don't know, if you're not sure of the ruling, take your provisional and then find out after the round. And then, you know, in this case, it worked out for the advantage of the player, and which how it should be.
And you see the wind ripping off Downey's shirt right here. I actually putted my second shot on this hole with a Firebird. You see the wind filled up the chains and pushed him out.
Right.
Downey is not having these baskets right now.
No, he was dead center and just got a wind push out. All right, and Blaine cleans up there for a birdie.
He secured his place on the lead card for the final round.
All right, and here's Chad. He wants to do the same. This should put him at -9 for the first round.
And actually going to wind up being the, he's the hot round for the
Overall
first round.
leader for your first round, all divisions. So good job on Chad. We got Josh here cleaning up. And then, you know.
Cleaning up again.
Cleaning up again and again. No, those were just provisionals. So again, yeah, we thank y'all for watching this round 1 back 9. You got Taters with commentary. Again, thank you Newks Eatery for sponsoring this video. Yeah, we'll see you on the next round.
Yeah, hope to catch you for round 2.
Thank y'all.